wait a minute to see if Doug gets his call in.
He said he was gonna show.
Can you hear me, Joe?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Thank you.
Okay, great. Hey, Judd.
Hey, how you doing, Mike?
Good.
Okay, I think we'll get this thing started. It's 8:16 and we open the Lake City Historical Preservation Commission meeting for February. On February 3rd. Well, first thing, we welcome Mr. Kenneth Howard. Kenny, welcome to the commission.
Hey there.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Glad to be on it. Appreciate it. And I look forward to working with you guys.
Good. The first order is just to have a roll call. Jared has been doing that up to now, and we'll have him do it this morning.
Joe.
I'm here.
Mike. Here. Judd.
Here.
Kenny.
Here.
Is it Kenny or Kenneth?
Most people call me Kenny.
Kenny it is. Good to meet you. Jared here.
Nice to meet you.
The first item, in just a minute, we're going to have each year we vote on officers for the Historic Preservation Commission for the year. We'll first take care of the business of approving the minutes from the last meeting. Kenny wasn't there, so he won't be a part of this, but we have the minutes for the December 2nd meeting of last year, which was the last meeting we held. I hope everybody's had a chance to look at that. I have a couple of small corrections on the time of the opening and closing that I'll make on it. But other than that, I don't have any comments on it.
You look good to me. Fine to me.
Okay, we need a motion.
Good to me.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
Okay.
I'd like to make a motion.
Second.
We have a motion to approve the minutes and a second. Let's have a roll call vote on the minutes of December 2nd.
Joe.
Yes.
Mike. Yes. Judd.
Yes.
Lee.
No, not Kenny. He wasn't there.
Oh. Jared. Yes. Thank you.
Okay, that's accomplished. Okay. At this point, I mean, we have gone through the last year without having a secretary. It would be very nice to have one now. I've been threatening for some time to leave the commission and certainly the chair, but I think I'm going to offer to stay on at this point. If you guys are interested in that, basically to deal with the fixing up the website that we have now that's kind of in a mess, and to see if we can plan for some CLG grant applications for that website. Or improvement and possibly for design guidelines next year. Does anyone else have comments on positions they might be interested in?
I'd be happy to take on the secretary role.
Okay.
As
Okay,
the new
then
guy, I'll ask the question, are there other roles that are available?
There's chair, vice chair, and secretary.
Got it.
We haven't had formal other positions, basically, because we haven't had many people.
Thank you.
And I personally, if you, Jared, or Kenny, and I have confidence in Kenny, would like to be, what I understand, Joe, you would prefer not being chair. Am I correct or wrong?
No, I said I'm willing to offer to chair this year because I think there's a few things that I'd like to see get done with regard to. Yeah.
No, that's good. I wanted it clarified. Okay. On vice chair, which I did do, I would like to see, and it's not in any order. I earlier said I would like to see Jared or Kenny if they're interested to do that.
Kenny, would you be interested in that?
Sure, I would.
Great.
Okay, well, then let's entertain some motions for the positions, the chair and then the vice chair and then.
We'll do one at a time.
Yeah, I think so.
I think so. I'd like to make a motion that Joe Fox is chair of the Historical Commission for 2026.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Roll call vote on that.
Roll call. Kenny.
Yes.
Judd.
Yes.
Yes. Joe. Get the vote on yourself too. Jared, yes.
Okay,
Motion carried.
we have a chair. Let's go for vice chair, a motion.
I move Kenny Howard to be vice chair for 2026.
I'll second that.
Roll call. Mike.
Yes.
Joe.
Yes.
Judd.
Yes.
Jared, yes.
Okay, and for secretary, well, again, as chair isn't supposed to be making motions and seconds and stuff, so I'll refrain from doing that. We need a motion for a secretary.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Mike Coffin as Secretary of HPC for 2026.
I second that.
Second that motion. You can get it, Jared.
Roll call. Kenny.
Yes.
Judd.
Yes.
Jared, yes.
I don't think we need to keep the details on who made the motion and seconds on each one of those, but as secretary, as we go through motions and stuff, we want to keep record of that.
Okay.
Who makes the motion and who seconds it, and what the vote was in terms of unanimous or numbers and things like that. Okay.
Question.
Yes.
Now that I am the secretary, what's my job? Do we have a job description?
We do not have a job description out of it. The primary thing is to take notes at the meetings and be able to prepare a draft of the minutes.
Okay.
I'll ask the second question, or the second to that question, which is the vice chair's roles and responsibilities.
Learn a lot since you're new here.
Perfect.
And
I can do that.
if for some reason I'm not able to be here for a meeting, then you will be chairing the meeting.
Got it. Thank you very much.
So I'll be communicating with you some about what those responsibilities are and how I've dealt with them and so on, just so you know. And I will be Let me ask you this. Okay, you're out of the country right now. How much do you think you might be in town over the first half of this year?
That's a great question, Joe. Hard for me to answer, at least for the next few months. As far as physically being in person, definitely through early June through August for sure, and then into the fall. But as far as the first next couple months, it's probably gonna be a bit limited. At least my ability.
Limited, okay. Okay,
So if that limits the position on vice chair, then maybe we go back and reconsider the motion. It's really kind of up to you guys on what you think.
I like Kenny to be there, and it doesn't mean I'm sure there's something in the parliamentary procedure that if those two to make a quorum to make it, I'd be glad when I get back to Lake City to check with the town, and and you can also chair when you're on Zoom. So
yeah, all right.
I want you to stay on.
no, it's a good point, Judd. We'll look into that. I mean, I can see there are some advantages to having the chair of a meeting have access to this business right here in front of me and the town staff and so on. So we'll discuss that a bit.
All right.
I know, Judd, you have been vice chair for the last year. There was not an opportunity. Was there opportunity where you chaired a meeting or not?
No, there wasn't, because the one time that you weren't able to be there, that we did not have a meeting. That was in the January meeting.
That's
so
right.
I did not have that.
Well,
but again, I don't have a problem with how it's set up now.
Well,
I mean, with the Kenny being there.
I'm going to discuss.
I think it's more okay. Let me say something real quick.
Go ahead.
I think it's more important to have a qualified person being in these responsibility areas. And Jared, if you would have said you wanted to be it, you would definitely be included. Is more important than having a figurehead that is there. And I have a great deal of confidence with each of the members at present time.
Okay, is that all you want to say?
Yes, thank you.
Okay. I think my comment would be, I'm going to discuss this with the town manager Lex a bit, and if it makes sense to, at this point, maybe divide those responsibilities in case a person, the vice chair is away, then we have an alternative vice chair, and I would suggest that might be you, Judd. But let me talk to Lex about that before we go any further with this.
Sounds good.
Okay, good. Okay, the first, following the officers' vote, the first, the next order of business in terms of action items is COA 2026-01, 118 North Gunnison Avenue, the property with the food truck, owned by Mr. Ponto, who's asked for a new shed. This was assigned to Judd and Mike. Can you give, since the owner is not here, either Zoom or in person, can you give a quick overview of what that?
Yeah, we're right here on Zoom.
Oh, you are? Hi there.
Hey.
Hi.
Oh, okay. You guys just give a real quick um, explanation of what you're asking for.
I believe it was a 12 by 16. It's just a pre-constructed tough shed with a like a barn style roof, metal roof, pretty standard siding, no windows, one exterior door on the east side. The farthest, the side not facing the roadway. Um, just on a 4-inch concrete slab, kind of in the um, I don't know, maybe the closest third of the property to the highway. Um, yeah, that's it.
Okay. Um, you and Judd had a look at it. Do you have any, yeah, to my man, Mike to give his comments on the application?
Yeah, I think that, the guidelines, uh, requested for like a pre-built shed, that we put it towards the back of the property. Would that be, something you feel comfortable with, Brendan?
Yeah, I think we're fine with that now. Originally we wanted that placement because at some point it would be incorporated into our business, but that has since kind of shifted gears, and we're more okay with it being at the back of the property. We just want you guys to let us know, like, what does that mean? Like, where exactly would you be okay for the back of the property? Like at the very back, or maybe just on the last half, or what are you thinking?
Well, I'm not exactly sure what the guidelines state specifically, but it's towards the back, I think. So,
You have a very empty lot there. I think the first request would probably be to have it somewhere along the back of the lot there. Is there any special reason you feel you need it up further closer to the food truck and stuff?
Well, like we said, we originally had a plan to incorporate it into the business where it was important that it was like close to our sewer tap and the seating area for our customers. Um, but if it goes on the property now, because our business is going to relocate to the former brewery building, we're working on that deal. But we still wanted to get this through you guys in case we want this as a storage option on that property. So I think maybe if we can just put on paper now, where the shed can be placed on maybe either the north or south property line on the back half of the property, if you guys are okay with something like that. Then if we do decide to build in the future, it's going to be out of the way enough, and shouldn't impede with any further things you want to do with the property.
Okay, you say the back half, so how close might it be to the back property line? Or how far?
That would make it 75 feet on the back 75 feet of the property, right? Or because they're 125 deep, so I guess it'd be like 62 and a half.
Any comments from other HPC commissioners here on this?
I don't have a problem.
None for me at this point.
Okay, I just want to be clear. Let me ask it again. The back of the shed would be how far do you think from the back property line?
Well, it's kind of, I guess at this point, like hypothetically saying where we might want to put it. So we just want to get like some parameters in place so that if it does go on the property, I mean, I feel like we would want to put it right at the back anyway. Like it doesn't need to be along the center line. I just want to get something on paper to like give us some guidelines as to what you guys expect for it being on the back of the property. That's why we recommended like on that back half we could just maybe get that down. And then on a north or south property line as well to kind of limit it, to like an extreme edge and on the back, I guess. I don't know.
Okay, well, we also want to have things on paper so that, when we approve something, there's not too much doubt as to exactly where something's gonna go and so on. As far as I understand, and maybe you could, you do not require a building permit for this, is that correct?
I think with the slab foundation,
With the slab, okay.
yeah, we would, but yeah.
Okay, well, the paperwork that we send to the building inspector, we generally, we like to have that show the location where a building is gonna go. So, number one, if we're gonna formally approve this today, my opinion would be we need to see we have your application, and in that application, there's a kind of a photo image showing where the thing would be. I think I would want to see a replacement of that image showing where you wanted to put it in the back. And given your equivocation right now, I wouldn't have a problem with you showing two different possible places in the back there, just so it showed that it was going to be in the back, and we won't have to go and inform building inspector of other possibilities and things like that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, sounds good.
What are your setbacks against the alley?
Alley is 5 feet. Yeah, 5 feet.
And the north and south boundaries, is it 15 feet or what?
No, the west on the highway, I think is 0, because it's central business, and then on the, I think it's pretty limited. Like, I mean, it's very very small setbacks. I think it's because it's 7 residential, so it's less than that. I'd have to look again. I don't really remember on the side. It might be 5 or something as well, but
Okay, but that you'll deal with the building inspector, especially if you're going to put a concrete pad in there.
oh yeah, for sure. Yep.
What those setbacks are. But I can conceive of us approving the application here on the condition that we receive from you a revised image where you had the yellow for the placement of the shed. And if you want to put 2 possible alternatives on that, that would be okay with me. But to be clear, so that when we send this to the building inspector, he knows that it's being approved towards the back of the property there and not as it's in your current application. That's all.
Sure.
Okay.
Is that okay with you guys?
Yep.
Yes.
Then we need a motion to say that we approve this as proposed with the condition that a new image of the placement be provided to us before we sign off on it.
I make a motion that we approve this with the condition that we receive a revised site plan before we sign off on
Seconded.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments on on that motion? No. I'm going to take the opportunity here. Judd had a talk with the town staff about these kind of motions, and I followed up with the town manager on that. I think what we can do is accept this kind of a motion where, we should include COA 2026-01 in this. But we don't need to give all the details on on the location, the owner, and what's being done. But when we do the minutes, that information has to be included in the minutes because those minutes are what gets reviewed by the state and the federal government as to how we're conducting our business.
Thanks, Joe.
So I'm gonna, just for formality, I'm gonna ask you to repeat that with COA 2021-2026-01 in it.
All right, I move that we approve COA 2026-01 contingent upon the submission of a revised site plan.
Seconded.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any other comments with regard to this thing? Okay, then let's have a roll call vote on the motion.
Mike,
Yes.
Joe,
Yes,
Kenny,
Yes.
Yes.
Jared, yes.
okay, unanimous approval for that. So you guys, I hope it's pretty easy to do, but if you could just send us that page, revise that one page that has the yellow placement and either put it in one spot or say either here or there towards the back of the thing, okay?
Yep, sounds good.
Got it.
Thanks.
Thank you, guys.
Send that to, send that to the town. We'll get it from them. And as soon as we receive that from you guys, then I will take it and have it put into your application paperwork and sign it, and then it will be sent to the building inspector.
Cool.
Perfect.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Yeah.
Thank
thanks.
you.
Bye.
Okay, next order of business is COA 2026-02, 415 Henson Street, the McDonald Rock House. And before I go any further, I want to make sure I can bring up on the screen here. Okay. This application, do we have Derek or Leah here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, good. Well, just to give you a chance here, I mean, this is, there's a lot of information in here. Why don't you just give a brief outline of how you got to this point in terms of requesting an addition to this building?
What do you mean?
What are you asking here for here?
The addition, so we can make it a house that we can live in.
Okay. Is this, is your property a contributing historic property?
We've been told that it is.
No, you didn't write that on the application.
I wasn't made aware until after we submitted the application.
You were sent the paperwork that shows, and you were told over a year ago that the building was a contributing building in the historic district.
Yeah, we weren't made a, I'm sorry, I don't understand.
You don't understand what a contributing building in the historic district is.
Right, I don't understand what makes it a contributing I mean, I see where it is on the property paper that we were given a year ago. Yes. I don't understand the process of what makes it a contributing one, but that's probably a call for another day.
Okay. Um, okay, I will, well, Jared, I'll put things up here. Would you, rather than me doing the whole thing here, outline what this project's about for us? Jared and I took on responsibility, as we generally have a two-person subcommittee who is assigned to communicate with the applicants on these applications and hopefully comes up with an evaluation and a suggestion, but this final application didn't come in until Friday. There hasn't been time to do that, but we will do our best to outline what application is about relative to the purview that we have in terms of the guidelines for the Lake City's Historic District.
Yeah. Well, at the last meeting, we were asked to submit what we had, which we were very upfront that it was just like a hand-drawn drawing, colored in marker. We did send that, and then Joe said, no, we needed to submit a formal application. We still have not received like a formal word from that. So then we got with somebody who could draw us up these plans.
Okay.
Sent that in, and then was told also that we needed to submit this as a formal application. So whatever steps we need to do at this point, we're willing to do. We just need clear and distinct guidance, if that makes sense.
Okay, the guidance that we tried to get across at the last meeting on December 2nd was that we would be willing to look at revised plans as you conceptualize this thing before a formal application was necessary, and that those should be submitted to us to try to help you guys get to the point of something that might be acceptable before you dealt with paying for doing yourself a lot of architectural drawings and things like that. So we're
Right,
trying to
we did, Joe, but you told my husband that it needed to be a formal application at this point. So here
at
we
some
are.
point it has, I mean, for us as a commission to evaluate your proposal and so on, or your idea here, it has to be a formal application.
Yeah.
Yes, that's how this works.
Right. So,
And
well, that was your guidance after we submitted it to you directly. So I guess, is that he sent it to you directly and that was your phone call with him, is that was not the proper procedure, that we needed to put in a formal application at this point.
well, there was a phone call, and at that time I said there wasn't enough information in what he had sent me, that you should look at what's asked for in the formal application. And you have gotten pretty close to that at this point, but there are still some information that's not in this that would be needed for, in my view, for a final decision on this thing. But at this point, all the members of the commission have now seen these drawings. Not all of them, you were dealing with a two-person subcommittee that was trying to help you come up with the information that was needed for a formal application. Now you have a formal application that's been submitted, so that it now has gone to other members of the Historic Preservation Commission. And at this point, okay, they've seen, I'm not going to describe in detail, they've seen your drawings and description of materials and other things in the application. And I'm going to ask for some comments from the different members of the commission with regard to.
I do have comments or questions.
Okay, well then I'll go to Judd first.
Okay, thank you. These drawings are much better than the previous. Appreciate you taking the time to doing that. I've got my questions or this is Marvin Windows or is an outstanding quality window, but they make a lot of different types. Double hung, slider, awning, fixed. Also, which series? It's kind of like saying I'm going to buy a Ford. We're talking about a truck or a car, and which car we're talking about. So it's not just, I'd like to have clarification on that. Another one on the windows is when you're talking about the type of window, one of the things that I'm suggesting is that you can have what they call a mullion. A mullion is like a divided light. There's different options where it looks more old style, especially if you have a fixed or like a casement window. That would be very important for me. And this is the other question I've got is what type of exterior door are y'all planning to put on? And I've got two more. There's no elevation or pitches on the drawing. Like on the addition, it goes up to 14'6", but there's not anything on the south and north side on the total height of the building. And the last one is that you stated on your request for siding, corrugated metal. I'd like to know more information of what type. I'd like to know the thickness of the steel, and all. More important is it like a natural rusty or is it a bright shiny? What you're actually intending to use on those, and I would like to have that information before I made a decision. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Judd. Judd, I just want to be 100% sure you have been able to look at the entire application now?
Yes.
Because there is a crude little drawing that shows some indication of the total height of the building. It's not clear whether that's.
I'm not seeing it on my drawings. I see up to the line of which drawing are you talking about?
Well, that's why I'm asking you, because in the application that I sent to everybody last Friday, it has that crude drawing. It also has photographs of the site. Have you been able to review that application?
Okay. My bad. I was looking at the original, not the original, but yes, I did not. But I don't see on the height. I do see that they've got casements, which the only thing I would suggest on the casements, one of them, it's interesting. One of them looks to me like it does have like a divider, but that's, well, some do. And some don't. So I'm going to start over on that then, because you have specified the drawings some have mullions and some don't.
I didn't say that.
But I don't see on any of the drawings on the height of it.
No, Jed, it's my impression that you do have a copy of the drawings. I'm showing them at the meeting here. You have that copy, but it sounds like you haven't been able to look at the other pages in the application that show some other information. But most of your points there are quite valid, and it's pretty clear that additional information should be required on the windows and so on. But I think we'll leave your comments there if that's okay with you. And I'm going to go on to some of the other members of the commission, okay?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Mike,
Yeah, beyond the details of the windows, I'm just looking at the guidelines for additions. And the first guideline says an addition must clearly be visually subservient to the historic house. From my non-expert opinion, is this isn't visually subservient. It also requests that we place an addition toward the rear of the historic house. This is on the side. And I'm not exactly sure what the materials are going to be. I think I'd like to see some more detail on that, but it says for additions, use an exterior material that is compatible with the appearance, texture, and dimension of the historic materials on the original building. I don't think corrugated is compatible with that, but
it's a different, well, I'm not going to make too many comments, but rock is a very unique building material here. It's one could be flexible with regards to that. Anyway, keep going.
I have some concerns about the placement of the building. That's going to be. I'm not exactly sure how close it's going to be to the play area of the week here next door. I'd be concerned that it'd be infringing on their property and casting a shadow on the kids' playscapes.
I'm not sure that's something that comes under our purview, but it's fine to bring it up. You're not the only one that's brought that up, and I have talked with somebody at the week here to see whether they have any comments on this. So I think we leave it up to them to see whether they want to make any comments on that part. But do you have any other things?
No, those are my three major concerns.
Okay, Kenny, have you been able to have a chance to look at this?
I have. I've reviewed the drawings that you provided me. Mike's covered off on a couple of the items, as have you, Joe. The exterior material being one of them, in alignment with the guidelines. I think the property's listed with corrugated steel, and the current structure is rock, as you've mentioned. So the question there was compatibility relative to the guidelines. The other is the roof style and pitch. I think Judd hit on roof pitch because that is covered in the guidelines. That there are minimum requirements there. So not seeing anything on the drawings that are indicating that. And then, kind of an open question on the style of the roof. It looks like it's a shed style. The current roof on the structure is a gabled roof, I believe. And so you maybe could provide or the town could provide advice and guidance relative to the congruence of the shape of the roof or the style of the roof relative to.
Kenny, I don't know whether it's the microphone or whatever, but could you repeat the last little bit you said a little bit slower? It's a little bit difficult to understand what you're saying.
My apologies. Hopefully this is a little bit better. I will go a bit slower.
Yes.
So, one was the materials of the siding. I think that Judd's already called out wanting more, and I think you have also pointed out that, it's a rock structure currently, or the current structure is rock, and the guidelines do call out the necessary congruence of materials. The second item is relative to the roof pitch and style. The roof, the drawings do not indicate the current roof pitch to be able to assess against the guidelines. And then the roof style appears to be a shed style roof as opposed to a gabled roof. As I'm aware, the current structure has a gabled roof. I believe the guidelines do indicate that they need to be of similar style. So obviously questions relative to the application regarding the siding and the roof. And Mike has already mentioned the other one, which is the scale of the addition relative to the historic structure. Without the full set of dimensions, the addition looks to dwarf, but I can't tell, right? Because the full set of the existing structure's dimensions do not appear to be listed on the drawings. Those would be my main items.
I'm going to make a couple comments to what he said. I mean, in our discussions with the applicants, I mean, the business of shed roof as opposed to gable roof, as we have had discussions with them about that. I mean, they can't have as the guidelines suggest, a gabled roof that faces the public because according to building codes, it makes perfect sense. They can't have snow shedding onto the old building. So there are some practical concerns with regard to these things. I will just point out that in terms of the dimensions, is it 15 feet by 40 feet?
That's the addition that I'm aware of, Joe, right?
Addition.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I'm just gonna put this up real clear. I'm gonna ask you to think about this, Jared. I'm gonna ask you to comment on what these guys have said relative to what discussions there have been. But let me just quickly show you this. This is the architectural survey that on page page 3 lists if the building is in an existing National Register district, is it contributing or non-contributing? It is contributing. This report was written by a professional historian, and that's how the building got its designation. But up here, it shows here it is. The dimensions, it said it's 510 square feet. The addition is 600 square feet.
Okay.
So that gives you some idea of the
Scale.
mass
Yeah.
of this thing relative to the original building. And your comments need to be taken seriously with regard to the size of this building relative to the original. I'm going to go back to the Jared, comments.
Just a quick clarification, the drawing that was on the screen previous, oh, it's there again. It shows that seems to show that the existing rock house roof peak is 14'6". Is that accurate? That seems a little taller than it looks, but I haven't been out there with the tape. Can you guys clarify if the existing peak of the rock house is 14'6"?
I don't know. I'll have to ask.
Derek doesn't know, or he's not available.
Yeah, he is in class.
In class, yeah.
Okay.
Let me show. They have another little drawing here.
Leah, do you know the height of the highest point of the addition?
Yeah, I thought he included it in what
Leah, I'm showing it right here. He included a drawing that shows pretty crudely that it's impossible to tell whether it's the height of where the roof ends up or where the building ends up, but it says 26 feet. I think that's right.
Where's the hay shed? I'm confused about where the hay shed is. What are we calling the hay shed?
the hay shed is the structure that's there.
House?
It doesn't have a certificate of occupancy, actually. We can't insure it as a house, and on county tax appraisal, it's been a vacant land and a hay shed.
Okay, I get it. You're calling the rock house a hay shed.
Yes,
Yeah,
semantics.
I haven't seen this drawing lately and, okay, got it. Okay, so we don't actually know. Can we go, Joe, can you scroll back to one of the architectural drawings again? Or even to maybe a picture of the actual house. Yeah.
That view, Leah, we're looking at a view of, or can you see this?
I cannot see it, no.
Share.
Can you scroll down
Yeah,
or up rather? Yeah, yeah, that one.
that's where your question is that.
Yeah, like that, like, yeah, just not convinced that that's 14'6" to the peak of that. It looks,
Well, that's a
could
clarification.
be wrong. I'm just trying to understand, given the architectural drawings that I'm assuming are to scale. Um, how, yeah, I'm trying to understand how high the addition is at its peak.
Yeah, Jared, it looks like that 14.6 is to the bottom of the window, although it looks close to height of roof based on that one drawing. You're right, not knowing the exact on it. At least if I'm looking at the same drawing with the 14.6 on it.
This is more like 11. Oh, 11.
You
Maybe.
said that it is 14 feet to the
That's
peak of the existing structure.
so you have, so then could I then estimate that you have a 10-foot ceiling in the old rock house, hay shed?
There is no ceiling. It is just goes up to the rafters. So it's elevated.
Have you guys, um, you're well aware that our preference is to have vertically oriented windows. Um,
Yes.
and
I think they all are.
east and west side seem to be, and it's quite a nice proportion. Um, okay, and then there's, I think the south elevation maybe is the one.
Let me get it.
Yes, they all have vertical windows.
Right, except for the south. I mean, those are
There are 6 windows on the south.
right.
And they are 24 by 36? No, 32 by 48.
Okay, so
So it is 6 windows, not 3. If that is the
okay. Is there space between these windows? Because it appears that it may be 2 different sashes, but it appears to be 3 windows that just have a divide in them. But you're telling me there's 6 of them?
Yes. Yep. Just like on the front of the house, there are 4 windows. I know the drawing on only shows 2, but they are actually 4 windows.
Okay. So then, when we get to the elevation where there's a window that you can see from the outside, but I think it
Okay,
is in the landing.
Yeah, I know where you mean. Let's check real
Mhm.
quick. This says 32 by 48.
32 by 48. All of the windows are 32 by 48 on the north, south, west, and then on the, no, I'm just kidding. I'm directionally challenged. On east, west, and south are 32 by 48. The north, which is the daycare side, we have 24 by 36, with the exception of the landing, has to be egress. Those have to be egress style windows. I will note all of the window sizes. I mean, this is what we have quoted. We know there are guidelines that we, if these don't fit, we need to take into consideration.
Okay.
And I think he did send it to the city, the quote of the Marvin windows that does give from Blue Spruce, that gives the information on the windows that we had quoted.
So it looks like on this one, I mean, those north side windows are the same things that two of them together.
Right.
You know,
Well, but a little bit of a sticking point for me. I need to understand. I think we all need to understand what the reality will be. Um, and I'll make the example of the south facing elevation with the 6 windows. They're 24 by 36. I think I just heard you say. They're drawn so close together that to to us, for our purposes, like that's 3 windows, and I'm not sure how you can hang. Like it has to. I think we need some illustration of that they are 6 windows, because as they're drawn, they're pushed together as if they appear to be 3 windows, and I don't know how you would hang, just from a builder's perspective. I don't know how you would hang uh, windows that close together, because they can't rely on each other for structural support.
Mhm.
That's a detail that's just matter of fact, but um, yeah, which I guess kind of makes me a little concerned generally about the accuracy of these drawings, and if we were to approve this as is, what we're seeing on paper is my guess is not what we're going to see when the project is complete, if that makes sense.
So you want like an inch, you want to see that there'll be a support post between the two in this drawing before you'll approve it.
Yeah, I just we need to see what this is really going to look like. Like I understand that I think Derek mentioned to me that you have a relative or a friend who's helping you out with the drawings, and that's where these are coming from. And maybe this architect in training or architect is learning quite a lot, and maybe that's what we're experiencing here as we uh, view these drawings. Is that safe? Is that accurate to say?
let me point out that, for example, I'm going to put, let's see, this is the view from Henson Street. Um, Actually, those windows on the old house are 2 sets of divided windows sitting next to each other, so they kind of give a different impression
Yeah,
from
they have one casement with 2 windows in them, which was the look that he was to keep it cohesive on the south side, is what those 2 windows are supposed to replicate.
it's hard to see Mike, did you have I think you had a closer up picture. Let me, let me. Okay, but I mean, if we're going to ask them for more detailed information, I think we need to be fairly specific as to what we want from them.
That would be fantastic. We would actually welcome feedback that is useful for us in doing these drawings. It's been a very frustrating process on our end in that regard.
Okay.
I would just
okay,
point out,
this
Leah,
is-
that we don't usually have to go into this detail because when people are designing homes, they have an architect do it, and those architects know what's required for these kinds of things. I do come back to, we're stating to you that we, as a commission members, whereas the two-person committee would be willing to look at cruder drawings so that you didn't spend a lot of money or time on architectural drawings until we had some idea what was
We are
appropriate.
still waiting.
That's why it's been a bit frustrating. I can understand that.
Yes, we've still not received feedback from you, Joe. We're still waiting on that. You told my husband to submit this formal application, which is what we did.
Okay, this is Judd again. I'd like to interrupt just a minute.
And
Okay. The on the drawings, like on the west view, the pitches and elevations on I don't think are correct because the pitches much on the I'm talking about the I think you call it the hay storage or the original rock is that and again I don't see on the height of the addition on both the highest peak of the roof and also the shortest. I apologize about on the window situation that I did not. I was looking at an older one. My bad. But and I know it's a little bit more expensive, but I think the mullions on the casement would be important, and the reason is when someone's especially on the east side and also the south side because that's visual by the roads more so that have mullions. I would like to see that to make it look older. And I would like to know on what type of door we're planning to. And I did look. I think it's like $30 per window more for a mullion. So it is more expensive, but I think it'd be a good value for you and your husband. But that's my opinion. Thank you.
Judd, you're talking about a door. Where are you talking about a door?
Isn't that God dang.
I don't think there's a door in the new.
Oh, the ground. Isn't there on the ground floor? Isn't that a door?
The
one I'm looking at.
Go ahead.
This is on the addition, and it's 5 of 19 is what on the page.
Judd, I don't think there's a door in the addition at all. Leah, can you confirm that?
Okay.
No, there's no exterior door on the addition.
Sorry for the confusion.
Okay. I was
That's all right.
You answer that question, okay? That's disregard totally.
Looks like
On
that's
the door.
an interior. It looks like that's an interior door where it butts up against the rock house on first floor of the addition.
On the, yes, there
On
is
five, on page
interior
5.
door on the floor plan from the addition into the existing structure, but there's no exterior doors on the
Okay,
addition.
thank you.
Okay.
Leah, I'm sure that this is becoming a frustrating process for you guys. I felt like I had a nice conversation with Derek last time he visited me. But at the end of the day, I think something that needs to be, or a bunch that needs to be clarified. We need to know what we're approving, and the level of drawing that we've been provided so far. Some of it, the floor plan is a little bit irrelevant for us, but it helps us to understand window placement and such. But at the end of the day, we still need to understand what it is we're approving. And when the drawings are sometimes accurate and obviously not so accurate, don't provide enough detail, it makes it difficult for us to discuss this or to really understand what it is we're approving. Does that make sense?
No, it makes total sense. And we've submitted all of this trying to get feedback. And I know he's worked well with you, Jared, but we haven't, what we sent, we still haven't actually received any feedback on.
Well, that's what this meeting is for.
Right. No, yes, 100%. And we're open to hearing it. We just need to be, we need the feedback.
Well,
what is-
Leah, let me comment on that. I mean, we received several sets of drawings. I mean, we're looking at the drawings that you submitted on Friday. There were 2 other earlier sets of drawings, and you received feedback on those. The original drawings all had many.
I'm sorry, when did we receive feedback on them?
And I had a telephone call with your husband. I indicated that the design guidelines asked for vertically oriented windows on the earlier drawings that you submitted. They were mostly horizontal. So there was feedback given on that. These latest drawings do have vertical orientation on the windows, which is what we asked for. But there's still not enough detail. I'm hearing from virtually all members of this commission, some of whom are only looking at this latest drawing. So I have to counter your statement that you've got no feedback. That's not the case.
We were asked to submit the hand-drawn drawings that we did have from the previous meeting, and we sent those to you, Joe. And you told my husband that he needed to submit a formal application. You have said from the beginning the windows needed to be horizontal and not vertical, so we did make that change. But we were under the impression after my husband talked with Jared, please let me finish. We were under the impression after my husband talked with Jared that you were drafting a response from after all of the other people of the committee had seen those hand drawings. We have never heard from you since then. We've never gotten that feedback. The only feedback was the day we sent them in to you and you said to submit a formal application. Like a month has passed. We got with an architect because the one we were using that you had given us the information to could not circle back on this until February or March. And we need to get the ball rolling. There's obviously a tight timeline. I'm sure you guys are all aware. And getting stuff with contractors in the works takes time there. So we're trying to get as much approved to get it done as quickly as we can. So then we had these drawings done. He sent them to you. And you then again said we needed to submit a formal application. You did not look at them and give us any feedback to these drawings. You got numerous reiterations last week because the town manager was guiding us on what he thought we would need to get it approved. That is why you got so many drafts last week. Not because of any conversation with you, Joe.
I'm sorry, but there's clearly been misunderstandings in these communications. And that's one of the reasons why commissions, historic preservation commissions don't generally work this way. They generally deal with a professional staff member at the town who has the communications with you. I think you're a little confused as to how this process works. I cannot show the drawings to all members of the commission.
Have you shown them to anybody?
Yes, I have gone outside to get advice from architects and historians with regard to the designs of this for the historic district. I received on the 12th of January the first set of drawings here after our meeting in December, and at that point, I did ask different people for feedback with regard to that. Derek called me up about 10 days later, and that's when you're complaining that there had been no feedback yet. I'm not an architect. I cannot provide you feedback immediately when they come. That's an unrealistic expectation on your part. These things take time. We're talking about a couple of weeks.
Still haven't heard from you, Joe. It's February 3rd. Your instruction to my husband was to submit a formal application.
Okay, you have the formal application now, and we as a commission will be evaluating it. My conclusion today, and I'm gonna, I'm not gonna make my conclusion till I ask the others here, but it sounds like we will be requesting additional information to be able to evaluate this thing properly.
When would be a reasonable timeline to expect that feedback?
Is it possible for us to set in a special meeting sometime in February in order to readdress this with both Leah and Derek? I think it will be important that all parties are present so that when questions are asked, they can be answered.
That's what needs to be done, yes. Yeah.
Is there a question that I've not been able to answer?
Yes, you don't know the heights of the existing building.
14 feet. I did clarify that. It is 14 feet.
I will challenge that. I may be wrong, but I'm nearly certain that the peak of your existing building is not 14 foot 6 feet. It's just based on pictures. Maybe I'll have time. Well, no.
Well, look, this needs to be clarified.
It just needs to be clarified.
It's also the height of the building. You have 26 feet on one. We don't know whether that's the height of where the roof sticks out or of the corner of the building itself. We want that clarified.
Also, the roof pitches.
I'm going to say a couple of things here. I would suggest that we outline the detailed information that we want from these guys.
That would be greatly appreciated.
One of the other things I'm going to say is that from the comments of both Mike and Penny, who have not seen these things before. Well, Judd hasn't seen the whole thing either, but from the comments of Mike and Kenny, the massing of this building relative to the original historic McDonald House, they have issues with regard to whether it's appropriate within the historic district. I think one of the things that I want to find out, and in terms of time frame, I'm going to be going to the Saving Places Conference, and I know Mike is also in about a week. I'm going to ask advice from professional historians and architects as to whether this addition will cause the contributing status of this building to be lost for the town of Lake City. I'm not sure myself whether that's the case, but I think we need to know whether that's the case and whether the Historic Preservation Commission should be keeping such a addition if the town loses one of its historic, or the status of one of its historic buildings. I know we've gone a certain distance on this, and these are things that I don't expect you to understand, Leah, but the process of way Historic Preservation Commissions work. Lake City has a difficult position in not having a professional staff member at the town who deals with these things. We are volunteers. None of us have architectural expertise. And we're doing our best to evaluate and ask for further information. And I hope you take that into consideration in your dealings with us. My own opinion is that I can't vote on any approval of this at this point. I need additional information. And I'm going to take the opportunity to ask many of the questions that I have to professionals at the meeting in Denver in about a week. I would like to talk with Derek. It sounds like it's a Saturday. What would be an appropriate time of day or day of the week where we could hold a special meeting to discuss some of these things in detail with you after we provide a list of additional information that we want?
In the evening would be fine, if that works better than a weekend. He's in class usually until 5 p.m.
Is Gabe the inspector? Is he requiring you guys have architectural drawings or no for the addition?
He hasn't requested any as of yet. We've been in contact with him about certain things that we need for it. Like the roof pitch and the away for the entry on the second level.
Okay.
Okay. Well, we might communicate with him a bit as to what's required there.
Sure.
Leah, what is the setback from the north side of the property there, from the fence at We Care?
With after the addition, it's still 8 feet, and 7 feet is what is required. And that is from the property stake on both ends of the property, which the is pretty in line with.
Okay. Okay, I personally want the time to be able to discuss this with professionals in Denver when I'm there. That will be on the 11th. And I'll be back here on the 14th, I think it is. We will communicate with you about scheduling a session as soon as possible after that. Is that okay?
Yes. Mm-hmm. What would you like us to gather that we can on our side? to be prepared. I can get you
We will prepare
information
that.
on
Yeah, we will prepare a list of items that we would like to see.
Okay.
And some concerns that maybe need to be addressed, or at least discussed. And we'll be as clear as possible. And I apologize for any the confusion that is clearly here, but we'll try and clarify all these things and give you some very clear questions with expectations, and so we can be more efficient in the future.
Leah, one of the things I would like to see on the drawings, just to be consistent on the way you present windows, is on the old structure. For example, in the front, show that those are two different sections of
Yes.
other than one big window. Because you're kind of using that as a basis for or how you're configuring some of the other windows, and also and we'll put this down on paper, but on the side that shows the south side, you show the old building in front. Put the windows in there too, so we get a feeling of what the window configuration is on the old building relative to what's you're proposing on the new building there. You understand what I mean?
Yeah, you want to see the windows on the existing structure on the south view orientation.
On all of realistic configurations of what the windows are that are there. But as Jared says, and I think I'm going to ask him to make a first draft on this. We'll make a list of additional things we would like to see. Okay, I mean, at this point, our best course of action is to have a motion made to postpone the decision on this until we receive additional information that we request. And we need a motion and a second to do that.
I'd like to make a motion that we postpone until after to have a special meeting, but it will be after the convention, and which as soon as possible after that convention. A postponement on making a decision and giving more clarification to the homeowner that of what we would like or request.
How about just saying that you move to postpone the postpone the consideration of this application until we receive the additional information that we require.
Sounds good. That's my motion.
What he said.
And at the earliest, and at a reasonable, fast time after that information is received.
Say in February.
That's great.
Second that motion.
Got it. You're report.
Roll call. Kenny.
Yes.
Did you say Judd? Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Joe.
Yes.
Jared. Yes.
Okay, Leah, you can expect from us a list of additional information that we need. I'm going to discuss the whole aspect of this thing with regard to how the state we'll view the historic status of this building just so we understand what we may be doing here. And I'll be doing that at a meeting in Denver starting on the 11th. We'll be in touch with you with regard to organizing a special meeting where both of you can participate in discussion following your submission of the additional information that we request. Is that okay with you?
Yes.
Thanks a lot for participating today.
And Leah, I will make an effort to get a list of questions and needs for you from us by the end of the week is my goal, if that's acceptable.
Yes. I would appreciate it.
Okay, thanks a lot for being here.
Yes, thank you.
We'll get through it.
Okay, short break.
Joe, Mike, I'll email my list of topics to you guys. I've got them. I think we mostly addressed them, or at least raised them, but you will see an email from me so that you can consolidate, or Jared can consolidate the questions.
Great, thank you very much. You'll send the email to me with that?
I was going to send it to all of you, if that
Okay.
works, or just, you tell me.
I don't
I've got
think
it
you
already.
can do that.
Okay, then how would, okay. If I need to
No,
send it
hey,
to,
Kenny.
Yeah.
Kenny, just real quick. No, the reason that you can't do that, or I don't think you should, is it's like having a meeting without. So what you do is you would send that to, right now it would be Joe Fox.
yeah, okay.
Where that way, because it's a legality deal is what they're
Yep,
trying to do, make sure that
No, that's fair.
somebody's not full of, okay.
So I need to only send it to the chair is what I'm hearing.
Just send it to
Or-
the chair. Judge is absolutely right. I think this is because we are a
I understand.
so-called quasi-judicial organization, and we have to be careful with legalities associated.
Completely understand. Completely
We can't
understand.
all be communicating about this outside of meetings. That's-
Yeah, I understand ex parte communication, so I've got that. Just as a matter of administrative principle here, do I also need to copy Lex as the town manager so that, or just
No.
Joe?
No, just me.
Okay, very good. Thank you.
But thanks, yeah, thanks. We send that as soon as it's comfortable for you.
Yeah, no, that's fair. There were my notes for the meeting, so I'll get them to you.
Okay. 9:44 now. I think I've got to go to the doctor's pretty soon. We have several old business, new business things to go through. I think I'm gonna go through them pretty quickly here. I've already mentioned that I'll be going to the Saving Places Conference, so will Mike. That starts on the 11th. As I said, I'm going to take the opportunity to discuss with professionals there this particular application and get advice on how we've been dealing with it and whether they have any advice that might come in terms of how we respond to what we're asking for them. So we will be sending a request to them before we go to this meeting. And yeah, I want to have that and we'll be able to discuss that with them also. Mike and I have discussed the possibility of submitting a CLG grant application for a small amount of money, maybe $5,000, to upgrade the website that we have. Given that's something that application will be due on the 20th of this month. I will talk with Lindsay, or we'll both talk with Lindsay about that at the meeting. And see if I can have a little communication with her before that.
Yeah, I want to put out some feelers to some web designers just to make sure that 5,000 would cover it.
Okay,
And I'd be willing to donate any copywriting services and creative direction.
okay, great, great. She wanted to have a draft of this already a couple days ago or yesterday, but I'll get in touch with her and indicate that we'll discuss this.
Okay.
It's a small application. We don't want to spend a whole lot of time on it. There's a bunch of paperwork involved to do it with the town. So I think we need to discuss with her a little bit whether it's worth all that
Got it.
associated with the paperwork. I had a meeting with the current chair of the Arts Council, Ingrid Burnett, and Hector Gomez, with regard to, and they're asking advice from the Historic Preservation Commission regarding state historical fund application for basically maintenance on their building. It's something they've been discussing for a number of years. They put in an application to the town for some town money to help them do that, and the town turned them down. And at a couple meetings ago, when I was reporting to the town trustees on our meetings, which the chair has to do every month, the mayor asked me to be in contact with Ingrid about this to see whether we could help with anything. We don't have money. There are other organizations in town here that do have money that could conceivably do something like that. Which reminds me, one of the things that we as a commission should consider is potential applications to organizations in town that have money for projects here to do things that the Historic Preservation Commission might want to do. But anyway, there are issues with regard that the State Historical Fund has already said to the Arts Council that they're not all that keen on funding them because they got a grant to fix up their building 10 or 12 years ago and they haven't maintained it properly. So they need to have further discussions with funding agencies over what's appropriate for a possible application there. And I've advised them on who to talk to for that. Oh yeah. So the owners of the bank here called me up, or not the owners, somebody working with the owners of our local bank here called me up and asked for my opinion on, it's been bought out. There will be a new name of the bank and a new sign. They said they would send me a,
BMO.
yeah, it's not.
It's not
It's a
BMO?
secret.
It's not BMO?
No, I can say that. They don't want me to say what it is. But I asked them to provide that by this meeting, but they haven't done that yet. So apparently I will be asked to give comments on what's appropriate for their site. I don't think I'll have a whole lot of leeway as to what it is, but just to let you know that that's going on.
Okay.
Plans for 2026, I'm not going to go into detail with that at this point. I've got to get to the doctor and we'll discuss that another time. Any comments from anybody, Judge or anybody else?
No.
Okay.
Thank you for checking.
Is it?
Is it appropriate to talk about the Rock House? To follow up with that, I just have one question.
Yeah.
Given the concerns about the scale and position of the house, it seems that discussion about details like windows might be irrelevant because if that house goes up as crudely drawn as it was, if it goes up with that kind of scale and that kind of position, it's going to lose its historic status. I would think that's the primary piece of feedback.
That's a very important part of this whole thing. My comment to that would be, and this makes it an extremely difficult issue to deal with. And when they came with those initial drawings, I suggested that they talk with a historic preservation architect and he to get some advice on what would be appropriate for that building. And he drew them. We have not shared those drawings. He drew them a first and second story rendition of something that he thought might be acceptable for them, but he did not place it in what kind of juxtaposition it had to the original building. He wanted it on the south side. They have not accepted that, and they want it on the north side. So it becomes a question. To a certain extent, he designed something for them that would be a two-story thing that would go somewhere next to the building or attached to the building in some way on the south side. Now it's being put on the north side, flush up against it. These are questions that I want to bring up at the conference. It's a fundamental question. You're absolutely right. I've discussed this a bit with the town manager, whose response is we need housing for people in this town. Making this building into a residence is something that, from a historic preservation point of view, that's what you like to see, revised uses of places. But I mean, the original request by these owners was that they wanted to redo this building to make a vacation place for their family. And now it's going to be something totally different from that. This comes to a decision that we'll have to make as a group. It would not be good for historic preservation to go and vote to do something that makes a historic building lose its status here. This is something I want to discuss with the state, how they would look at us or the town if they did that, associated with the status. As I say, we've already gone certain bits down the road on this thing, so it may be difficult to go back to that.
Okay.
But yes, it's a fundamental question we need to address.
Couple things. I'm not sure if I guess we'll speak. I know that Judd and Joe have been around for this conversation, but in regards to metal siding, it's not historic here, but it's coming. And I don't think there's anything we can do to stop it. There's I guess the main reason being the wildland urban interface and increase in fires and stuff. So we have to adopt some kind of acceptance of it. And it requires discussion and like, what are we going to choose? What's going to be acceptable and what's not? So just so that everybody's on the same page.
This is where before too long, we have to deal with some revision of guidelines and things like that.
And consult with people at the conference.
Yeah. And it exists in a lot of places. You see it a lot in Crested Butte, you see it a ton in Ofri, you see it a ton in Telluride. We just don't have it here yet.
We don't have it here yet. And I mean, it's much easier to think of in terms of a building on a historic property that's put next to or somewhere else on the property, or a new building. But our guidelines right now, do not. They say what kind of materials and things like that are appropriate for an addition to a historic building, and right now that's not one of them.
Right. Yeah. The other, we had an applicant build a shed on the back of the property that butts up against the park here last year. And the application read that the structure, it was similar in style to this addition, but it had a shed roof. I don't know if you were part of this too,
I
but
wasn't part of it, but I was there for it.
it ended up getting built or framed at 6 feet over what it was supposed to, and that was 20 feet. And it was very inappropriate at that height, given the surrounding buildings. And it, like, to us, it sort of opened our eyes to, like, you can't be too careful.
Yeah, we don't want any vagueness on what the height of a building is.
Exactly, and understanding scale. And so back to my comments to Leah and Derek's, like, we have to know what we're approving. It's hard enough to do it on paper, but when the paper part is inaccurate, and if you look at the picture of their house, like most doors on the planet are under 7 feet high. And if they're claiming their peak of their existing roof is another 7 feet above that, like, it's not even close to 14 feet.
I think part of our next communication with them is to formally have permission to go and make some measurements.
Like, doors are 6'8" generally. Like, I would say that 95% of the doors on the planet now are 6'8". It's just a standard dimension. So, like, the point is, you can't be too careful.
One other thing I forgot to bring up at all is that this I was talking with Grant Houston about it just in terms of the historic district and how this might affect it and so on. But I'm not sure whether this, I need to ask the question, and we'll put it in there. What happens to the historic outhouse in the back there? Does this building, oh, and the other thing is the setback. Yeah, we need to discuss that. I mean, Grant's suggestion was the new building should be set back 2 feet from the front of the rock house itself, which would put the whole thing back further, and that would maintain the prominence of the rock house itself. I don't know how practical that is, but it seems likely that with this building going back there, that we will lose the outhouse. That will be part of my questions with regard to historians and so on.
Oh, I didn't think they were talking about putting anything on that side of the building. I thought they were talking about putting it
On what side?
the north side. Any addition. Why would we lose the outhouse?
Because it goes back far enough to impinge on the outhouse. And I'm not 100% sure, but Grant's comment to me was, well, if you approve this, then we lose the outhouse.
But the outhouse is on the, I'm sorry.
It's on the alley side, but this building goes back. I forgot to ask the question. We need to get that
And when
clarified.
he said we lose the outhouse, we lose the significance of it. It loses its prominence. It gets removed.
If it gets removed, that was his impression.
Well, I had conversation with Derek, and I think you can move anything. You can, but he seemed to be inclined that, like, that house is not moving. It can't be moved because it's connected to a big concrete ball.
I don't think it can be moved. Yeah.
Well, anything can be moved.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Okay.
and I was like, because it came up and, like, well, because of the outhouse, we can't offset the house to because that's what I was suggesting, is that maybe instead of centering the addition on the existing house, like just directly to the north of it, behind it, why not offset it and just give it a little more topography and just visual interest? Oh, it can't because of the outhouse. It's like, what do you mean you can't because of the outhouse? Just move the outhouse. Like, we'll approve of moving the outhouse 8 feet if we need to. Like, oh, you can't
Okay.
move the
Well,
outhouse for,
it's likely to cost a little money to move the outhouse properly.
well, I did mine in a day.
Okay. Well, I mean, Grant's comment was, no, you can't move that thing because of the rocks and things like that.
Sure.
It is possible. Okay.
Sure.
But that's a question that has to come up.
My final, well, for now, thought on on this project is one, it's a really tricky one. We're dealing with a building that is not typical. And like my thought when they first approached this concept of like buying it and then buying it and putting it in addition, it's like, that's going to be a hard thing to pull off and to like make it work to something that's visually attractive, that doesn't detract from what it is, even though like if it disappeared tomorrow, I don't know that I'd care
No,
personally,
and to,
but that's not what's important here.
to Leah's complaints about my not having responded to them and so on, it's not our job to design things for them,
Right.
not at all. We've bent over backwards to try to help them come up with things on this, but that's why when you build a house, literally, you have an architect help you do it.
Right. And right. Which it would be, I think that maybe we should have discussion with the building inspector in that our job is twice as hard and we're having to, as a group of 5 of us, imagine what this thing is going to look like. And each of us has our own imagination because we don't have specific drawings. Like I don't know how you're going to build an addition like that attached to this house without a set of drawings, whether they're professionally drawn or drawn by somebody who may not be an architect, but who can draw things to scale. Like I had to do it in my building.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do you get started? You just start nailing things together and like, oh, this looks a bit like the drawing I've got. Like, no, you got to have some kind of framework, a plan. Otherwise, it's going to look like there was no plan. And so, and that's why I asked the question. Like, is Gabe requiring you guys to have architectural drawings? And maybe he will,
We need to find out.
or will require Gabe and Leah to generate some drawings that are to scale and don't leave any question or anything sort of vague or ambiguous, because it just makes everybody else's like job harder.
Hey, question to you guys. Hopefully you can hear me. So in addition to exactly what you said about the drawings, I mean, it is, I think we ought to ask Gabe.
Slow down again.
Sorry, I'm overseas, so I'm actually talking slow. It may just be my connection. My apologies. When you connect with Gabe about, about plans, do they also require a site plan, right? The layout on the lot, so that we can assess those aspects.
That's stated very clearly in the ordinance about what
Okay.
should be in an application. So that will be one of the things that we need to ask
Okay.
them. You're absolutely correct.
And Gabe does require it, period.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Because otherwise it's on him if things are done wrong and somebody has to move their building, then the county or town, like Gabe, is responsible for this error. So he does require it. And I'm sure Gabe will accept drawings from a professional builder in town that's a known quantity on the back of a napkin, because he knows that it's going to get done right because he's a known quantity. But
So Kenny, let me just tell you that this is, we've never, I've been doing this with this commission for 8 or 9 years now. We've never had to deal with one like this before. So I wrote you that you would learn a lot about the kind of challenges that we have. Hopefully we don't have to run into this kind of thing in the future. And it has to do with, and again, we're back to, we don't have a person at the town who sits there and then tells people this is not acceptable yet. It's stated in the ordinance and on the application form of this information is needed, and don't accept it before we get all that. And that's, we don't have a good system.
Makes sense. I understand.
Judd, are you still here?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, I'm finally going to close the meeting. Thanks a lot for hanging on. When do you get back here?
You talking to me? Are you talking to Judd?
Talking to Judd.
I should be back on the 11th of February.
Okay, well, we'll all be in touch about the next steps on this. Thanks, everybody, for being here. It is 10:06, and I'm closing the meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Drive
You
safe.
gentlemen, have a good day.
Take care.
Bye.
Thanks, Kenny.
What time is it in Morocco?
Oh, yeah, he's up in the middle of the night or something. Oh, yeah, I need to set this off somewhere.
Spell. Thank God. 6:06 in the PM.
That's not bad.
Well, here we go.
Yeah. I think I gave you guys a hard time about the height of your building.
Yeah.
I was concerned, but massive. I was thinking it was.
See you, Jim.
Ledge.
Thanks a lot, you guys. I'm
See
pretty
ya.
sure I'm late for that.
Yeah, so what we do here, like really, it's like, we're gonna have to deal with this for the rest of each of our time on the commission. You know, if we allow, you know, we have to be flexible, I realize, but if we allow more than what we're comfortable with, people are gonna use this as an example. We let them do it, why can't I? You let them do this, why can't we, you know? It's a tricky one.
Yeah, I don't know. I really want to encourage people to move here and to live here, especially people that are going to be contributing community to be deputy sheriffs.
Young families.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
want to make it. I want to, but it seems like, we referred them to an architect that would give them free plans and they went, nah.
It was a gift.
And it was, but from my understanding, Larry actually gave them just basically that same plan but flopped, where it's on the south side, not the north side of the building,
Right.
which we'd still be presented with the same problem, which is that's not going to be a contributing building anymore because
You don't think?
it's directly connected to the building. There's no like breezeway or nothing to communicate with that, and it's still going to overwhelm the building. It's not set back. So that's still a problem, but I've got a huge problem with it. I think I didn't see it in the guidelines, but I seem to remember we had this discussion about, maybe that was with planning and zoning. We had a discussion with proximity of our house, the size of the house, wrenching upon the neighbors.
Yeah.
Whether they'd have a problem with it. And I'm like, well, we're like 20 feet back. Yeah, we're like in the middle of the lot. It's not, and the neighbors don't have a problem with it. In this case, maybe it's none of my business. Probably it. But I just would hate to see it. Big ass shed casting a shadow. Some kids playing in the week here.
Yeah. And they get a voice in this. Like,
I would hope.
yeah, well, they certainly do. I mean, your neighbors to the north and south do. You know, they get to chime in, and that's my understanding anyway. Yeah. If there's an objection, then you have to address that, deal with it.
Did, sorry. You've been here a long time. I didn't know.
I'm never in a hurry.
How are you doing?
How am I doing?
Yeah.
Oh, good. Yeah, quite good. I mean, yeah.
I hadn't seen you at all since I've been back. I guess,
Yeah.
since it's been cold, we've been hibernating a little bit. But
We're slammed. We're always slammed, but in a good way. Busy, busy.
was this presented to them as feedback? Do you know? That looks like pretty specific feedback. They're claiming.
Where did you get this?
Joe. It was sent with the other documents, I thought.
I don't know. Yeah, if he shared this, he should have and only shared it with them. To send it to me too is getting to be maybe a little bit inappropriate. It's something we should discuss at some point, like what kind of communication we're supposed to have, like outside of these meetings, how many people with the applicants.
Absolutely.
Because
I think
we can get in
job
trouble.
descriptions for everybody, for board members or committee members, commission members, and have it explicitly outlined about what ex parte communication is.
And what it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think we probably should have it. Like there's any number of topics that I think it would probably justify having a special meeting or having an extra couple of hours. Maybe it didn't take that long, but at least schedule it into regularly scheduled meetings so that we can go over all this stuff. And preferably when everybody's here, because this is just nonsense. Like they may as well not even be there, particularly when the drawings are still up and it's like, I don't know if they're there or listening. It's just difficult. Like it's useful to some degree, but it's convenient. But it would be nice if all of us could sit down in flesh, and be able to hash some stuff out and discuss things like, what is appropriate? Has everybody read Robert's rules? Like, does everybody understand their role, what we're supposed to be doing, how to keep this professional? Right. Because, it's not that becoming of us to like be, for Judd not to know what he's talking about or looking at something that doesn't exist or imagining something. And then the applicants on, listening to, it's like, what kind of rinky-dink operation is this? And you guys aren't even all on the same page. Like, you should take it more seriously. And there are errors. We all make mistakes and oversee things, but we should at least be prepared. It happens a lot. That's, I guess.
And this is a no good deed goes unpunished situation where we're accepting things we shouldn't be accepting, looking at rudimentary drawings that are like, I can't make it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, it's ridiculous.
We could just go back with some drawings that actually inform.
Yeah.
Here's where it says that you need to have that, but we don't have that.
And I think part of the issue with these, and that we've discussed on numerous occasions, is that the point is for them not to be so specific. So you're not railroaded into like one thing, like they kind of need to be broad, but there's I think there's things that need to be more specific so that the applicant has some direction, so that they know what to expect.
And it's transparent and not buried in that.
Right. And like, this is a lot of reading to a lot of people. It's like, it's 70 pages. Like, you don't even, like, it's, and
I would
probably
have
half of that is
a
pictures.
one-page website.
Yeah. I mean, a lot has to be covered.
Jump to sections to where you don't have to click on something and wait for something to reload. Right? So I could look at it on my phone and I could go, okay, I want to know. And fences. There's like 2 different sections covering fences and they don't really agree with each other.
Right.
This thing. So it just needs to be succinct.
Yeah. Yeah.
It needs to be clear, and I get it. People are frustrated and concerned, like, what? And the level of detail about, what architectural features are, that's great for another day. But
Yeah.
I just think we need to, what are the rules? Just let me know the rules so I can, tell me what the law is so I don't break it. I don't know. I appreciate it.
Yeah. It's hard to know how to do it. Like, there's a lot of kind of nice to know in here, and there's the need to know, and we could segregate those two so that, for the people who like 70 pages is a big expectation. Like, they don't want to read that much. You have like one page of attention, and then they're gone. I've heard it numerous times. Like, I'm not reading 70, and I think they even thought it was 30. It's just like, there's guidelines of 35 pages long. You expect me to read that? Like, I thought it's a picture, but like, we have to, we have to accommodate that.
Yeah, I don't think it's transparent or concise. I don't think it's easy to get through. And I think that's what some of the frustration that people have with us is. And I don't want to have competing agendas with the town about something. It ought to be like we're all the same. We're all pulled up the same way.
I would love it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's getting better. I think you probably know this, but for the first time, according to Joe's knowledge of the history of the HPC working with the town, the issue was Svetlana and her fence and denying it. Like, apparently that was the first time the town has supported us and said no. They said no, we're saying no. Yeah. Which was like, whoa, that's kind of encouraging.
Yeah.
But it should be that way. But like Joe's pointed out, like, this is not the way it usually is. Like, it's usually a staff person at the town who manages all this. You have a board, but they have a paid professional who this is their area of expertise, is dealing with this stuff. And most towns have it. Gunnison has it, Crested Butte has it, Telluride has it, you name it. But we don't get that, so we have to do the best we can, I guess.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, there's room for improvement, but doing the best we can. And it seems like we've got a pretty like way better board than when I started.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, people like clearly care. Like, Kenny seems like, oh, he could be a nice addition. I've never met him, but
He'd be
like,
great.
by the sounds of it, yeah.
Yeah. Kenny's a good friend of mine.
Good.
We got him here.
That's sweet. Like,
They're from Austin, and in 2020, we used to have Leslie Nichols' house. That's the blue house, or next to the blue house is the yellow house. Next to the blue house, across from
yes.
Paul Realty,
Yep.
down there by there. And anyway, we owned that, and we auctioned that off for a week in the summer, in Lake City. They came up here and fell in love with the place, and they bought the log house in the corner. Avenue. So it's really nice old log house.
Is that the one they currently have?
Yeah.
Okay. It's across from Joe or something like it.
Yeah, it's right across from Joe.
Yeah.
They're great.
And they're here mostly full time?
No. He's up here May or June until August or September. The rest of the family comes and goes. And they come up for Christmas sometimes. They came up for Christmas last year. And spring breaks, stuff like that.
Right.
And I think he'd prefer to be here full time, but he works for Dell.
Uh, Is that what he's doing in Morocco?
Yeah.
Still. Okay.
He runs teams all over the world. He's enterprise solutions business, which he's got clients setting up systems all over. So he's got to manage egos and agendas. He's a good guy. And it'd be a really good, gonna be a really good addition.
I look forward to meeting him. So what's you guys' timeline?
Matters? Huh? No.
Like move-in date? Do you have
If
an
we're in by
approximate?
Christmas, I'd be tickled. We could be. I mean, it could be the end of the summer. We could be certainly could be under roof by beginning of the summer. You know, they're gonna start pounding nails pretty soon.
We'll get it
I'm-
framed quickly.
We're having to make, thousands of decisions, buying fixtures.
Yeah. I don't envy you. It's hard.
We've already decided we got our windows package in place, our door package pretty much figured out. It's just, I've never done this before.
Well, just take a breath, sleep on it. Because it is.
I don't have time to sleep.
Yeah, right. Well, but if you get one shot at it, you're not going to do this again somewhere. Yeah, it's like
I've been reading up on how to make these decisions. And there's one guy was like, he was like, listen, there's a order to making these decisions. You can make it easy, you can make it complicated. But if you make it complicated, just of the 1,000 decisions you make, you're gonna find yourself ugly crying over a fucking backsplash. Yeah. It's not that big. Make the big decisions first. The ones that, like, just for instance, countertops. Countertops are going to drive everything you do in your kitchen because, you can have, there's millions of paint colors. There's tons of different fixtures, but you're going to talk about, you can have butcher block, you can have granite, you can have marble, you can have the list of options is, the universe is more finite. So start there, and then you don't paint yourself in the corner.
Are you guys, is there a designer involved in it, or are you making all of the aesthetic choices outside of the architectural drawings? Or maybe the architect's got some input?
We have not hired a designer.
Okay.
Maybe should, but God dang it, Well, it's not only that. It's like I've got some pretty specific ideas about how I want to honor the old house and maintain. So, yeah, and I can do that. I can put this. I can do that. The real thing for the designers to keep the misses from getting into it.
Yeah. Well,
What are you working on?
starting a project with more wardrobes plus one of the wardrobes is relatively small, so there's a little deep bench. Test, test. Test. Hello.